A standard human nervous system operates on tiny electrical millivolt pulses, just enough current to keep a heart beating and muscles moving. When a high-voltage lightning strike hits that system, the body's natural electrical resistance converts the incoming current into massive amounts of thermal energy. In physics, we call this dielectric breakdown. The water in human tissue boils instantly, resulting in fatal internal steam explosions. Looking at this forensic record of Subject 010, we see an organism channeling an estimated 1 billion volts of atmospheric electricity. Yet he shows no signs of thermal damage. He bypasses dielectric breakdown completely. Attributing this survival to magic ignores the physical evidence. For any biological frame to survive a strike of that magnitude, internal electrical resistance must drop to zero, requiring a completely frictionless biology. Analyzing the god of thunder requires treating his anatomy as a flawlessly engineered bioelectrical circuit. In human anatomy, nerve signals are kept on track by a fatty layer of insulation called myelin. Under the stress of a billion-volt strike, this fat would liquefy almost instantly. Forensic scans of Subject 010 show anomalous conductivity readings along the nerve fibers that defy carbon-based biology, pointing to a specialized liquid metal matrix that replaces standard myelin. On the left, a standard organic nerve hits resistance and rapidly overheats. On the right, electrons flow freely through the liquid metal matrix. Current streaks through his spinal column at light speed, letting a massive storm pass through without raising his core temperature. He does not truly absorb the lightning. Rather, he provides a perfectly unobstructed pathway. His nervous system exactly dictates the trajectory of the atmospheric charge. By removing the obstacle of internal resistance, Thor acts as the universe's most efficient biological wire, bridging the gap between the atmosphere and his target. Electricity always requires a completed circuit. Channeling a billion volts directly into the Earth should create a lethal step potential, an intense voltage gradient that would instantly vaporize the ground beneath his boots. The forensic data reveals a secondary biological adaptation that prevents this: skeletal storage. Radiographic imaging shows an opaque skeletal structure, with traces of a heavy element within the marrow acting as a biological capacitor. This allows him to safely capture and hold massive atmospheric strikes indefinitely within his own mass. He uses his feet to establish a quantum ground, manipulating the subatomic spin of these heavy elements to prevent the stored energy from leaking uncontrollably into the Earth, keeping the charge primed until he redirects it as a focused, weaponized vector. His skeletal structure functions as a self-contained, walking power grid, capable of storing the raw electrical output of a localized tempest. We must run the simulation in reverse and ask, what happens if this perfect energy management system suffers a critical failure? If a highly targeted external force, like a concentrated magnetic or sonic pulse, violently disrupts the delicate zero-resistance state of his biomolecular conduits, the flow of current hits an immediate roadblock. The mathematics of this failure are instantaneous. His internal system spikes from zero resistance to infinite resistance in a fraction of a millisecond. The billion volts trapped inside his skeletal capacitor have nowhere to go and convert into devastating thermal energy. This triggers a terminal medical event known as internal plasma expansion. The extreme heat causes his blood to flash boil, transforming all fluid within his veins straight into superheated plasma. This spatial map visualizes the sheer scale of the resulting systemic explosion. The sudden expansion of plasma carries enough outward pressure to level an entire city block, turning the subject into a localized supernova. This reality is the cold forensic truth of Subject 010. His unmatched power is tied to a wildly dangerous biological tightrope. The real strength of this organism lies in the agonizing burden of containment. He walks the battlefield balancing a cosmic force that is perpetually 1 millisecond away from becoming his own executioner.